Brand new day. Great way to look at it, I think, oftentimes. Kind of, I don't know, just always can change directions. We can always choose again. And I know there are some circumstances that are a little more serious as far as, making those choices. But at the same time, you always can do something crazy, like walk away from a family. I'm not saying that's a good idea, so don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it theoretically could happen. I mean, that people have done crazier things. But anyway, yeah, Spirit Radio Dan Style at gmail.com for all the hate mail you might want to send me for that comment I just made. That would work beautifully. And, of course, the channel is Dan Radio Style. And I hope you all are enjoying what I've done so far. This has kind of hit me, this show, Signs, right? Showing the Answers, I guess is what I called it. It's what I wrote down when I started the show. Well, a lot of things can change between now and then. And, just to back up a hair, it's kind of funny, is I was going to do a 9/11 show the day after 9/11, and I actually did a show. It was probably, it was 25 minutes long. It was ridiculously long. And after listening to it, I listened to it twice, which I don't normally do. Normally it's like, yeah, that'll work, whatever. Or and on one other occasion, I actually did the show and said, no, I'm not publishing that. It's just that's not happening. There's been some I didn't publish to Facebook, and then so I do sometimes think about what I'm pushing out there and who all I want to see it and whether I care if anyone sees it. Ultimately, I want people to just find my channel. I don't necessarily want it to be family, but families at least get some numbers going. But this is kind of for people that don't know me so well, and maybe a few people that are I like to talk to about these kinds of topics, and we tend to help each other and give perspective, those kinds of things. So whatever. But yeah, 9/11 did a great show. Ended up coming across kind of. I almost sounded preachy, and it really bothered me, and I don't like that. I don't like sounding that way. So I'm just telling you up front, I make plenty of mistakes. This show's going to kind of be more in line with how I sometimes stumble through things to get to where I know I'm going, but that doesn't mean I still don't have 1,000 steps to take between here and there. And again, it's not the destination, as I've said in other shows, it's the journey. So the journey is really where the magic's at. And the magic is, as I have a friend I joke with about this, that's kind of the cool part about this all. That's the groovy part. The magic is really where it's at, and that's what I'm trying to get a lot of you guys to pay attention to. Those of you that already see it, then I'm just sharing some cool stuff. You're probably like, right on, I've had that happen. And then that's okay. So another coincidence. I think this is really funny because I've already done this topic once, twice, 3 times a lady, but it continues to happen for the same reasons. So anyway, 9/11 didn't do it. Not gonna. It is what it is. Sorry, people are scared. That was the whole concept behind it. Was trying to deal with fear and how it's. I called it 9/11 Fear Revisited. But I changed my mind. I didn't want to put it out. So needless to say, that's as close to that as I'm getting. Now, getting into the crux of the matter, as I like to sometimes say in my very strange ways, signs, showing the answers, right? So I get a lot of signs that mean stuff to me, and I want to suggest that that's always a great direction to go, first off. Second off, and I'm going to mention this on rather than linking it, just because I'm not really going to be quoting from it, but I've definitely mentioned this before. But it's numerology-the numbers and their meanings.blogspot, just numerology, their numbers, and you'll find it. It'll probably be one of the first things that comes up. And it's what's really awesome about this, and I'm just sharing this because this is a tool I use, and again, it's kind of like you giving the universe the playbook and saying, okay, I'm running play 4, and they're like, okay, I know how to give you something that you and I can connect on, right? So for me, it's like this and solitaire and some other things are like predefined like places, like, hey, send me this way if I get some sort of interesting thing, and then I'll read it, and it'll be really cool. So I'm going to actually read one. But again, it's a numerology site. They got numbers, seriously, it's the single digits, starting at 1, obviously. They do repeating digits 0 through 9. They've got all of them covered there, of course. Then they start at number 1, and they literally work all the way down to 1900. Just numbers, like 1900. And then you've got different repeatings. You can do combos like 1s and 0s, 1s and 3s, 1s and 5, 6s and 2s, whatever. So they got all these really, really cool, like little, quick checks, right? So like I said, you call me crazy, I don't care. That's fine. I'm just sharing. But this is like one place where I'll go, hey, universe, hook me up with some understanding, some direction, some help. And one that I keep seeing frequently is 909. And I see 911 almost always right after, which is funny. I might read them both just for the sake of tying the last show together. And it would be a coincidence to some degree. So 909, when I look it up, this is basically what it says. I'm not going to read the very, very tippy top because it just explains what the... well, hell, let's read it all. It's not that long. Number 909 is the combination of the vibrations and energies of the numbers 9 and 0. Number 9 brings its attributes of inner wisdom and intuition, philanthropy, optimism, endings, divine wisdom, universal spiritual laws, and lightworking, leadership, and humanitarianism. You can't put ands and throw more commas. That's not right. Anywho. The number 0 carries the energies of the God force, and its vibrations enhance and multiply the attributes of the number it appears with. So having the 0 with it just makes those 9s all that much stronger. So that makes 909 a powerful, life-changing number. See it all the time, just to remind you. And that top part, like I said, I don't read that often because it breaks down just what each number means within the group, but it's actually interesting. I've just read these so many times that for the most part, that part's like, the part that matters is this part that I'm going to read. Angel number 909 suggests that your angels are telling you that even though a part of your life has been altered, halted, or changed, things will ultimately turn out for the best, like a blessing in disguise. The angel number 909 is a message from your angels that the universe source fully supports your life purpose and soul mission. Listen to your intuition as your angels are constantly with you, and you can turn to them for divine guidance and support whenever you feel the need. The repeating angel number 909 is a message from your angels that you are to follow your gut instincts and passions and live your life, live your divine purpose, and keep shining your light. Kind of a cool message, and I get it at not odd times, but interesting times. One thing you got to tie into this that I'm hoping will make a difference as far as how this information is useful. And again, I'm sharing this because hopefully it helps. That's all I can say. If not, I'm just rambling on. So whatever. Take it for what it is. Take it for a grain of salt. But when I've got questions in life, I often ask the questions, or if I need guidance, I've been depressed lately. I'm not feeling good. I'm curious about this person. And what about my job? Whatever. Is my kid doing drugs? I don't know. Whatever question you seriously have, it doesn't really matter at all. These are kind of cool little ways to follow some signs, some breadcrumbs, if you will. So maybe you're sitting there all of a sudden and you're like, I wonder if my son's doing drugs. That was really bizarre how he responded to me this morning, right? That's like the thought you're having. Then all of a sudden 909 drives by and you're like, there's 909. Isn't that funny? And it just catches your attention. Maybe it doesn't mean anything, or maybe it's something that you see frequently. 111, like I've said before, is very, very popular. Or 1111. 420 is a little funny one I have with someone that it just cracks me up, and it happened again today, and that was really, really cool. And I keep seeing that number everywhere. Again, this ties into the point of why I'm doing this whole discussion. But oftentimes it's trying to figure out what they signify, or am I getting a little bit of a hint, a guidance, a help along the way? My suspicion with the friend that it's like she's thinking about me. That's kind of a good sign. It's like, hey, you know what? You just saw that number, and that means something to you too. And isn't that interesting? And then from there, it's just like whatever. Maybe there was a question in her head. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe things were moving in one direction and they're not. Who knows? But it's funny how things kind of work out, and they're usually tied to the thoughts that were preceding this special moment. Now, you can have special things that signify, there we go, try that word, that signify like really cool, powerful things. I've done this many times in the past. Had something I wanted to see. I mean, I've talked about the beach ball in the manifestation class, but I've basically told stuff to the universe, hey, do me a favor, show me a shooting star, a real one, within 24 hours of finding out that I'm going to get a new job. And, maybe within 3 days of finding out, whatever. Actually, a day. I've done it a day. So, and this is just a made-up one. I've actually done it for other stuff that was kind of more personal and whatever. But but the fact of the matter is I see the shooting star, and then within the given time frame, or at least close enough for all intents and purposes, sometimes almost instantly, which is weird, I end up seeing or experiencing what it is I'm after. Now, I will say, if I'm very specific and say, just to use the shooting star example, I say, okay, I want to see a shooting star in the sky, going down. All right, cool. When I see that, that means X. All right, cool. So you might be chilling at home watching TV, and all of a sudden, shooting stars start coming in, because there's one of the movie companies, Paramount or one of them. Again, this has been a sign of mine, so it's ooh, lots of shooting stars. but that's not the same thing in my mind. I don't know. I think it's like the universe kind of, you can always see a shooting star unless you're just never outside at night, ever, or there's like you're on a different planet maybe and there's no stars that are visible. I don't know. But outside of that, it's always possible. But certainly TV or even someone saying it, these things can be the hint or can be a step towards it, like an indicator. Like maybe it's not the full-blown because it didn't quite happen in real life, but it's happening in sort of a like a artsy kind of, I don't know, like TV, like radio, like, you know, not quite what you defined. Well, now all of a sudden it's got an additional, maybe it lightens it a little. I don't know. That's kind of how I tend to look at it, right? So it's like, okay, well, it's not the full blown, and then boom, something happens. Like, oh, so like maybe I'm looking for my soulmate for something, right? And then like the next day, like I have a discussion with someone, and we have like this weird like thing, or maybe a name's mentioned. Like that's even better. Like a name's mentioned, and then so during the conversation, I'm like, oh, maybe it's her because she just, oh, you know, so. Sometimes it's, you know, like, and then as you start pursuing that person, then, you know, you end up seeing a real shooting star, you know, and it's even funnier because I've had it happen, like just to use the example, this wasn't it, but you know, I'll be on the first date, like I'm literally with her right now and see a shooting star, and then be like, oh man, okay, that's just totally crazy. But again, that's like I get these awesome, they show me the way, and so the numbers is a good one, just sharing it with you. I get all sorts of other things like we've talked about with animals and stuff, so I guess my whole purpose of this show that didn't go anywhere in the direction that I intended it, which is, I think, better. I think that makes it actually more kind of how it should be. But the whole purpose of this is to really don't be afraid to ask questions. It says angels on the thing, okay? So if anyone's listened to this at all, you know, the 5 of you that listen, you should know that I kind of interchange angels, God, higher self. I mean, all those things, right? So I don't care what you call it, frankly. I mean, ideally, I'd like you to think it's your higher self, your own power, like God made us in his image and likeness, so that part of us, that's him. You know, God, Moses asked God's name on these are all the quotes I love because people kind of ignore some of these concepts, right? But, you know, God talks to Moses on Mount Sinai, or where was that? Wherever it was. I think, was it Sinai, or was that where the ark ended up? I forget. I think it was Arafat. I don't know. Whatever the case is, wherever that mountain was that Moses was chilling, God spoke to him in the burning bush, and he says, "What's your name?" And he goes, "I am." And he goes, "Yeah, no, like really, what? Huh? What's your name?" And he goes, "I am that I am." So if you were to actually call God by his name that he gave Moses, you would be invoking I am. It's the I am aspect of ourselves. You know, a lot of the older studies kind of tie into that. So again, there's all these other things. Religions are rooted in past stuff, and they're rooted in past stuff, and everything just kind of flows backwards, and it's really hard to find all the information. And I'm not saying I have it, mind you. Sometimes you just cheat and make stuff up, I guess. Go with your heart, go with your feeling, go with your gut. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm looking. You know, that's all I got to say. So these are kind of the ways. I'm hoping this helps. I'm hoping this kind of gives you a couple steps, maybe a kick on the rump if you needed that too, because all you got to do is ask the questions, and you will see the answers. And then once it happens once, twice, 3 times, it takes much longer than that, you should be like, wow, I wonder, is it just coincidence that this is working? You know, sure, call it what you want, but have fun with it. I dare, this is swear, I dare, prove me wrong. I dare you. I triple dog dare you to prove me wrong. And you will like look back on this and you'll be like, huh, okay, that imbecile on the YouTube channel sort of knew what he was talking about in this case. I don't know how it is. It's how it goes sometimes. All right, it's Dan Radio Style. Hope you enjoy. Please subscribe, especially if you're one of my friends, Facebooks, whatever the heck's. Please subscribe because that would be very, very cool. And Spirit Radio Dan Style at gmail.com will get you an email address that goes straight to me. I don't have minions or anything crazy like that. Well, yet. Maybe one day. Maybe 20 years from now you're listening to this and you know, it's I somehow made something of myself. Then that would be different. Anywho, Spirit Radio, Dan Style, gmail.com. You know, shoot me an email. And yeah, I hope you guys appreciated the show or liked it, or I don't know. I hope it was good. And we will try more of these as time progresses.